Hi, I'm Mark Anthony Tierno, author of Maldine, Cyberdon, and Spectre Flatfoot, and I'm here with another writing tip. Today's writing tip concerns designing aliens and monsters for whichever world that you're writing in. Now, be it science fiction or fantasy, every story needs its monsters, or in the case of science fiction, they're usually aliens. But it's not enough to simply slap together something ugly, drop it in front of the characters, and there you go. After all, you spent all that time getting your world down, your map, your plot, your characters. You don't want to stop now. To make your story believable in any setting, the monsters must feel as real as everything else you put all that hard work into. First off, the creature has to make sense. Yes, be creative, inventive, and unusual looking, but it still has to be something that either could have evolved given the local conditions or the conditions of wherever it was that it came from or it evolved in. In short, it needs a biology, or at least a basic idea of one. A classic example would be the tremendously huge dragon with the big question of what does something that big eat? Aside from the old line, anything it wants to. In a fantasy setting, the answer could very well be it feeds off the local magic fields. Or maybe one type of crystalline dragon or what have you eats rock and excretes gems or something. As long as there's something within the context of the story setting that explains how this thing exists. I mean, not everything around has to eat people. And the next you need a reason for it being there. If it's a natural denizen, then there must be a place for it in the local ecology. Like in the case of the aforementioned dragon, if one eats rocks, then it's probably in some big mountainous area. A place with lots and lots of rocks. Or if it's like some big fire salamander or something and it loves heat, it's going to be hanging out around volcanoes or a desert or something like that. But it has to someplace in local ecology. Or was it set there as a guardian? The old tomb guardian or an alien version of that. You have something in some other world that the aliens wanted kept secret and secure, so they made up some creature to put there. And that is another possibility. Was this creature designed by other forces? If it isn't native and it's not a guardian, then where did it come in from? Did it wander by? And why did it come there? If it's not native, what attracted it to that area? Any creature needs a good reason for being where they find it, something that makes at least some sort of sense in the given context. And then we have motivation. Not all monsters will automatically attack anyone that comes along. For instance, if it is the aforementioned dragon that eats rock, it sees a bunch of small, soft fleshies. It's not going to care less about them as long as they leave it alone. But if the characters in the story decide, hey, that's a big ugly thing, we're going to attack it, then the critter might just simply be defending itself. Or maybe it was sleeping, and the characters in the story woke it up. Now, if you're a dragon or what have you, and you've been sleeping for about 100 years, sorry about that, I forgot to turn off the emailer. If you're a dragon and you've been sleeping for about 100 years, and somebody comes and wakes you up, you're going to be grumpy. You're going to be, grumpy, not entirely there, not sure what's what, who these things are, and you may attack at a reflex. Some of the things, even the ugly ones, may be friendly if the characters in the story approach them right and work as sort of an ally. And that itself that's a plot point. So you have to use a bit of logic and how you design your monsters in there, even if it's supposed to just be some random encounter as they're going through the Valley of Death or something. If you do it right, it could actually feed into your plot. It could be, you could end up with a minor character that carries things along to the next element of the plot. Um, or it could be something threatening that makes the characters nervous, but doesn't really approach, because even a hungry mountain lion is not going to attack a strong, well-armed group of people. If anything, it'll stay at the back and pick someone off who strayed out of sight of the main group, which adds another plot element that you can work on. You have the characters hear these lions or critters or whatever in the distance, and they say, okay, everybody stick together. And the only one that ends up getting knocked off is the guy with the red shirt way in the back that didn't listen, and serves as a lesson to the rest of them. So even a random beastie with a suitable motivation will add that much more depth to a story. Just because it is, well, this is just a random encounter that they have as they're going on in the main plot. Everything counts. Nothing is really minor. That's one of the first lessons I taught myself when I was writing my books. As I'm eager to get to the quote unquote good stuff, you have to make everything the good stuff. And that includes supposedly random beasties that you want them to be bumping into in your story. And if the beasties, like I said, they have to make sense given the environment, in which case the type of monsters that they bump into will tell the reader more about that environment than, describing it as, a horrible swamp with all sorts of bad, nasty stuff and leaving like just a quick one paragraph description. You show what the bad nasties are that makes sense given whatever your valley of death or whatever is, and that will add more character to their environment that the characters are walking through. Of course, in most cases, you don't have to spend all that much time puzzling all the ins and outs of a simple encounter for the story's characters. Just a couple quick notes, little thoughts. Um, in my cases, sometimes I just make notes in my head. I have, okay, I want this sort of beastie. This is what they're found in, so this is what the beast is going to be like. Make sure it makes sense, and then write it into the story. So you don't have to have, paragraphs and a couple pages in your archives on the thing, unless you plan on reusing the darn thing. Just enough, of a quick sketch. So okay, that makes sense. But the difference even on that will mean fewer readers crying out, "Oh, come on, that's just plain ridiculous." And yes, you and I have both seen a few stories out there where if you do any thought whatsoever onto the type of critter there, and you're going, this doesn't make sense, it doesn't belong, it couldn't have evolved. Why is it not starving to death if it doesn't have that many characters wandering through to feed on? Things like that. There could be something else it normally feeds on, and then the character in the story come along, and it's going, a treat, something to add into its diet. But it should already have something around there that makes sense as to what it feeds on or what it's there. Anyhow, that's today's quick little tip. So all you prospective writers out there, just keep it up and keep reading.